Hello, Ann.
Good evening.
Tammy, what time do you have?
I have 6:56.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello, Jeff.
Hey. My internet's not letting me go on to the tablet, so I have to call in.
Hey.
Well, that's not very nice.
I know, it's kind of rude. And it's very awkward.
Roberto,
Hello.
going in your neighbor. I'm going to the Nevada tomorrow.
Yeah?
I go fishing.
Oh, yeah, where at?
Lake Topaz.
Like where?
I think it's Lake Topaz. Something like that.
Yeah.
Topaz.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't work, you can do some gambling.
I don't gamble.
You got a great casino there, I guess. So I've
Is that
heard.
right?
Yeah, so I've heard. But go to that bar there, which you can go into. Look at some of the trophy fish that they've caught out of there. That's a great fishery.
Is that in the town itself?
Yeah. And the West Walker River spills into it, which
That's
is a great
where
fishery too.
We're
So
going to fish in the
Huh?
West Walk. We're going to fish in the West Walk.
one of my favorites. Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, me and Randy Leonard going tomorrow.
There you go. What's nice about the Walker, yeah, you can catch a planter. There's probably not going to be a lot of planters because I guess they had this fungus this year in some of the eastern Sierra hatcheries. But there are some big fish in that West Walker. I mean, it's a great. I love that fishery. I mean, no pun intended, but you can hit a jackpot there. You know, a couple of them. So yeah, that sounds great. I'm jealous.
I thought you might. That's why I threw it out there.
Thanks a lot. I gotta work all day tomorrow.
Oh, you poor baby.
Yes. Okay, 7:00.
Yes, let me start my recordings, please.
Okay.
This conference will now be recorded.
All right.
Okay. I'd like to declare this City Council of the City of Escalon regular meeting of August 3rd, 2020 open for business. And before we proceed with anything else, I'd like to give a couple of introductory remarks. I would like to make it clear for the record that this meeting is being conducted by teleconference pursuant to the Brown Act waivers provided for under the governor's executive order in response to the COVID-19 state of emergency. This agenda states how members of the public may observe and provide public comment. The agenda also states that the public may listen and provide comment telephonically by calling the number listed on the agenda. And now this time, would you everybody please focus on the flag, which is in front of the dais, or just behind the dais, as I will recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Bellinger,
Here.
Councilmember Merkin,
Here.
Councilmember Legero,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Alves,
Here.
and Mayor Swift.
I am here. Okay, let's see, moving on to the consent calendar. These items are considered routine in nature and are acted upon by a single action unless requested by an individual council member or member of the public for special consideration. For example, regarding item number 2, we will be abstaining from voting on check numbers 7, 3, 8, 3, 4, and 9, 7, 2, 8. And if there are no other items that anybody wishes to pull, I will be asking for a motion for the balance of the entire.
I would move on staff's recommendation on the balance.
Okay,
Second.
it's been moved and seconded to approve the consent calendar. I will proceed with a roll call vote. Councilmember Bellinger, what say you?
Aye.
Councilmember Legero?
Aye.
Councilmember Merkin?
Here. Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Alves?
Aye.
And I'll say aye as well. Consent calendar passes 5-0.
Mayor Swift, I'm sorry, who seconded that motion?
Merkin.
Thank you.
Merkin or Legero?
I said
believe-
second
That's right.
together or what?
Walt second. Walt second.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry, who seconded that motion?
Somebody has their volume up where it's playing back again.
Okay, Tammy, do you have your answer?
I got it as Merkin second.
Very good. Staff communications.
So I just wanted to give a brief update, regarding, the current election period. We are in, the time frame right now for potential candidates to pull their papers. And since Councilmember Merkin has indicated he, will not be filing to, be a candidate, we will have, candidates the ability to pull papers until August 12th. Currently, I've had 2 candidates that have pulled papers, and 1 has qualified, which is our incumbent Legero. If we were to only have the 2 candidates, the council would have the option to just appoint the 2 candidates and not have an election. And if that is the case, we would need to make that, that choice before August 20th, but our August 17th meeting is too early. So technically, we would need to do it either the 18th or the 19th. So I really wanted to ask the council if we would like to, not have our meeting on the 17th and just plan to have it on the 18th. Understanding if we get more candidates, then it wouldn't be an option and it wouldn't be required, but I was just trying to get a fill back on that one.
Tammy, you're gonna have some rough idea before the 18th, though, right?
I'll know by the 12th.
Okay. I'm just wondering. Okay, so the 17th would be too early for what? It would be too early to just reappoint or appoint.
Correct. There's a set number of days that has to be allowed in order to do that, and Anne did some research for me. So they do have, if no one files papers by the 12th, if, other than the two candidates, no others file papers, the city needs to publish a 5-day notice, or publish a notice, and 5 days later hold a special meeting and appoint the individuals if we were to choose not to hold the election. And that has to be done by the 20th, but our meeting on the 17th is too early. It does not fall within the 75th day window.
Well, the 18th might be tricky for me.
Okay, so I have another, I have Angie who is doing our, evaluating all of our solar and energy projects. And we were planning on potentially doing a study workshop. And we were looking at doing it before the meeting of the 17th. So we could plan to have our regular meeting on the 17th, and then if we need to, we can just hold a special meeting on the 18th or the 19th, whatever the council may decide.
Let's see, again, let's go around the table. Councilmember Bellinger, what are your thoughts?
I'm agreeable to the way we want to go. I'll make sure everybody's available if that's the way we're going to go. We'll be there.
Okay. All right, Councilmember Ruggiero, what are your thoughts?
I'll defer to the rest of the council.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Merkin?
That week looks pretty clear for me, with the exception of Friday, so whatever you want to do.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Ruggiero, sorry, Mayor Pro Tem Al.
I'll go with the flow.
Well, Tammy, is it okay we do the meeting on the 17th and we have to call a quick special meeting on the 19th? Is that a possibility?
Absolutely.
If you guys don't mind, yeah, if we can do
So
that.
we'll just wait till the 12th and we'll see where we're at and go from there.
Sure, okay.
Okay, but, is everybody okay with doing a, study session at 6 o'clock on the 17th, where Angie's gonna go over, some of their current findings and the directions that they're heading, and it's a preliminary talk regarding, the wastewater treatment plant. We had talked about keeping the council in the loop, so this is just kind of a quick study to let you guys know what direction they're looking at for the wastewater treatment plant and where they're at in their current findings.
Okay. Are there any objections to a 6 p.m. meeting on Monday?
The 17th.
Correct.
Monday the 17th.
Okay, I'm good.
Okay.
Good.
All right, Tammy.
All right, thank you. So the other item that I have is, we had some issues over the weekend with our, lift station on McHenry, the old lift station that still houses for, industrial and storm line. And our pump, stopped working. And unfortunately, our system failed us and didn't notify us of the pump stopping or not working. And what happens in that situation, it's not flowing through the lift station. It actually backed up into our storm pond that's located near P&L, which was all tomato waste. It's the waste from the Kraft Heinz. So we had residents that have experienced odors that are very unpleasant. And so it was discovered Sunday night, the water in the pond, the pump was turned back on, and Public Works was out there today trying to help mitigate those odors. And the water is, if I understand correctly, almost all out of the pond. I guess the water that can be pumped out of the pond is out of the pond, so, but there's still moisture in that pond that could still cause some odors. So we're gonna continue those efforts of trying to mitigate the odor, and get that dried out as soon as we can. Of course, you know, we're looking into the system failure, and we'll be setting up some other checks so that we don't, have this happen again in the future. We did have, 4 or 5 phone calls this morning into City Hall. I've received 3 or 4 emails, and we did contact back everybody to let them know what was going on, that we were aware of it, we know what the issue is, and apologize for the situation. And I had one of the emails who actually asked to be included during public comment, from Mark Sarkozy. And he did say, asked to please include this in the public comment for 8/3/20 city council meeting. Want to bring to the attention the rancid odor on the streets behind Dollar General since Friday. Reported to police on Saturday, and also San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District on Sunday. Police say new process at Escalon Foods, but never smelled anything this bad. No report back from Air Pollution Control District, causing headaches and nauseousness, and need to turn off air conditioning so the inside of the house does, because the smell was getting on the inside of the house. So we did reach back out to Mr. Sarkozy, explained to him what the issue was, and I smelt the odor myself when I came into work this morning, and it was very bad, and, you know.
Pungent.
Yes, yeah, so it's very unfortunate. There was some lessons learned, and, you know, obviously communicating with some staff, like, that we had officers out there, they really should have probably, you know, reached out to Public Works to make sure, it wasn't our issue, and, while I know that there was the belief it could be the cannery, technically, while it is their waste, it was our issue, not their issue.
Tammy, 2 things. Could you please keep the page of the agenda current when we're talking, 1, and 2? I had multiple complaints about that, and after I talked to you, I think you made mention of it, so there's no point in me passing on to you, but I did have 3 or 4 emails to the effect, and I explained to them it's probably what you just described. I figured it might be that, or if not, over in the shopping center, there is a very pungent odor in the parking lot all the time, and I don't know what's causing that, but I was told it's a grease trap.
Justin, I know, can pipe in on that one.
Justin? Are you with us?
Justin?
Hello, Justin? He might have been bumped off or something, because there was some noise going, and I heard the static in the background, so maybe he got bumped off. At any rate, there is a pungent smell in the shopping center at the Marbell, and it's adjacent to the Chinese restaurant in front of it.
Yeah, and I know there's been a consistent issue there in the past, where I believe that there is a issue with their drain lines there that need to be washed out or cleaned out every once in a while. And, so occasionally we do have to remind them that it needs to be done.
Yeah, it's pretty rude, but okay.
Yeah.
No big. How are we going to address the issue with the failure of the pumps, lift stations? I thought there was a warning system built in where a light came on and also a signal to our staff. What happened to that?
Well, that is what we are working with the contractor on that maintains our SCADA system. You are absolutely correct. We should have been notified. There should have been a light on, and those things didn't happen. So I'm not sure the status of that. I know that we were in contact with the contractor today, and they were looking in the system to try and figure out why that didn't happen and make the necessary corrections.
On Carrigain, not on Carrigain, on First Street, around the corner from where I live, there's a lift station which light was on. I think it was Friday. The green light was on.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but it was on.
Can anybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I'm not having some audio issues there. So to answer a few of your questions, the one over at Kerrigan Lift Station, we're actually that's a float issue. It's not a pump station, and we're keeping the light on, just so the indication's there. But you
Okay.
are correct. We had the guys over there today. We should be able to have the part delivered tomorrow that's going to resolve that. That's just a wiring, communication issue over there, but no pumping issue. As far as the SCADA issue, we've got our SCADA people looking at it right now because that's a major issue. That one, the red light didn't come on. Two, we didn't get notified. And three, we just weren't aware of what was going on. When we have a pump comes on, it's supposed to tell us when it's not on. And because of that, we went through and tested every station and every alarm and every other one and didn't come across any issues. So why we had it this time, this weekend, we're just not, I don't have an answer yet, but we will have an answer because I need to know what happened.
Well, Justin, I appreciate your efforts, and Tammy, yours as well. I know it's one of those situations that nobody wants to go through, and yeah, I was the same, but I was at the shop 6 a.m. this morning. Oh boy, yeah, I caught it. What else do you have, Tammy?
That's all I have for staff communications.
Okay. Any additional staff communications? Chief Lackey, Dominique, Justin.
I don't have anything, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. All right, seeing none, we'll proceed to matters presented from the audience. At this time, the public may address the city council on any item on the agenda that is within the authority of the council. The speaker is limited to a maximum of 5 minutes. Unused time may not be yielded to another speaker. Now, and we do this two ways. We ask for, again, speakers can speak if they are actually on the go-to meeting, and they can also speak on the phone. So I like to take the two separately, okay, so everybody gets a chance. Is there anybody who is on the go-to meeting that would like to speak their mind at this time? No? Okay. I do see Katie from Josh Harder's office. Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hi, Mayor and City Council members. Thank you for allowing me to speak right now. I just wanted to let you all know that we are still closed to the public due to COVID, but we are working remotely. We are answering our phones. We have taken on more casework, of course, to help out with the changing of everything going on. So in addition to the regular helping out with federal agencies, we also help out with EDD. As you all know, EDD right now is very overwhelmed, so we've been helping people out with issues with EDD as well. The recent update is that we have saved constituents over $3 million since being in office, and we plan to help out more constituents navigate the red tape. If anyone has issues with a federal agency or they would like to leave a comment for the congressman, they could always reach us at our office at 209-579-5458. And thank you for letting me speak tonight.
Very good, Katie. Thank you for attending. I appreciate that. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak who is on the go-to meeting as versus being on the phone? No? Okay, let's go to the phones. Is there anybody who would like to speak their mind who is on the phone tonight?
Yes, this is Dr. Boss. I don't know if you can hear.
I can hear you. What's your name again, sir, please?
This is Dr. Boss, Paul Boss. I own the veterinary clinic out on Lone Tree,
Yeah.
and I own the properties out at 1205, 1199, and 1203, the old Dr. Palmer's old clinic, our old clinic.
Mm-hmm.
And back in April, we had a backup in our sewer line from the city, and I tried calling Public Works, left messages, never got a return call. Done it, and I did it multiple times. And we incurred some expenses due to the sewer line being blocked really out by Cancun, the Cancun restaurant in that little street that goes between Cancun and our kind of block. That's where the blockage was. And our plumber, had to run from 1199 and chased it all the way down as far as he could to that point, and it turned out it was tree roots in that area of the street, and the city came in the next day and ran a line backwards up the manhole over there by Cancun and unplugged the manhole. And I was hoping to get some reimbursement for some of the expense that, I incurred, because it was really the city's problem.
I wonder, Tammy, do you have some guidance for Dr. Voss on this?
Yeah, there is a claim form with the city that you can submit. You are welcome to email me. I can send that to you via email, or you can give the office a call. But my email, the best email or the easiest email to reach me at right now would be cityclerk@cityofescalon.org. Or if you'd like to give me your number, I can call you tomorrow.
Well, I'll be working tomorrow. I've got quite a list of patients I have to see tomorrow. So,
sure.
I think it's probably easier for me to send this all in an email to you, and then we can get, maybe the ball rolling.
Sounds good.
Dr. Voss, did you get that email okay?
Pardon?
Did you get that email okay, or would you like it repeated?
I got it, and I'm sure I can find it on the website.
Correct.
Very good. Dr. Voss, thank you for bringing this to our attention.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And let's see, I know there's some other phone callers out there who'd like to speak their mind, please. I hear somebody whispering. That's a little out of that. Okay. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak via phone tonight before we move on to administrative matters?
Yeah, I have a question. This is Cody Fowler over at 1550 Judith Way.
Hey, Cody?
The issue with the odor, obviously, I think you guys addressed that there earlier here in the meeting, so I won't take up too much of your time with it. But is there some sort of time frame, day or two, before this goes away, once it dries out, or how's that work? Do we have, I'm guessing if we can dump tomato waste down there, that we should have some sort of biodegradable goodies that can help get rid of the stench, or how's that going to work time frame wise?
Justin, what do you think? Or Tammy?
I think Justin.
We are going to be using a masking agent in a water truck tomorrow in order to knock down the odors that are still there. But we do have hopes within the next day or two that it dries up, we're able to disc it in and eliminate the odors there. But we will continually be working on it until the odors are gone away.
Justin? In those areas like that, I've had some experience in waste problems and similar with human waste, and the way we mitigate it is with lime. I don't know if that's something you can consider, but the lime eats it up quickly and kills the odor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Al. Appreciate that.
No problem.
I'll accept that. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Fowler, thank you very much. Is there anybody else who'd like to chime in and speak their mind, please? This is your opportunity.
Yeah, this is Max Sherkamp.
Mm-hmm.
I've smelled this before. How often has this happened due to the sewer system where raw sewage gets dumped into a storm drain basin in the middle of town?
So, it's not raw sewage, it's actually just the tomato waste. This is the first time that it's backed up into the storm pond. Now, a few years ago, Kraft Heinz did have an issue in their parking lot where they had juices that were going into a pond on their property, and the smells were very similar to this incident, because that was my first thoughts when this came about. But this is the first time that I'm aware of that it has backed up into the storm pond.
So to my understanding, waste from any industrial plant is treated before it's put into the sewer system. So if it's treated for stench or to help break it down, I'm kind of wondering why it smells like raw sewage. And I know that the city did a study for the tomato plant, or I guess it was done by Pace, a while back. So I'm kind of wondering what the findings of that study was.
So they are required that there are certain parameters when they discharge into our system, but it is not completely pre-treated water. There are a lot of treatment processes that are done at our wastewater treatment plant. And in regards to the PACE study, there were some concerns with the current DAF unit dissolved. Sorry, I don't know the meaning of the acronym, or I'm forgetting the middle definition. But there were some concerns on their system that stops the large particles from going through. And right now we do have a company that's working on PACE's recommendations and looking at potential ways to move forward with some of those recommendations at the wastewater treatment plant.
Is there any documentation that we can see the results of these findings or these observations?
The study from PACE is actually on our website.
Okay.
And it's in the news section. I believe you can see it on the front page, but like with recent news, I believe the study is still there.
Okay.
Mr. Schukamp, do you have any further questions?
Not at this moment. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for calling in. We have another caller. Going once, going twice. Tammy, did you have a letter you needed to read that was emailed in?
I did read it earlier when we were discussing this, the email from Mark Sarkozy.
That was the letter. Okay,
Yeah.
very good. That's what I thought. Okay, I'm going to need one more moment for anybody matters speaking from the audience before we go to administrative matters. All right, let's go to administrative matters. Item number 7, and Tammy, I believe this is you.
Correct. So tonight, staff is asking the council to authorize the mayor to sign the water supply development and operating agreement between the South San Joaquin Irrigation District and the city of Escalon. In 1995, the city entered into an initial agreement with the district to provide for the construction, operation, and financing of the water treatment plant project, and to specify the city's rights to acquire by purchase treated water up to the amount specified as the city's project allotment in the initial agreement. All project participants entered into an initial project participant agreement with the district similar to the initial agreement to fund and construct the project, and to specify each project participant's right to acquire treated water. The district, after consultation with the operating committee, constructed the project with the assigned capacity of the water treatment plant and capacity as required by each city involved. The cost of the project was divided among the project participants, pro rata, using project allotments and assigned capacities as the allocation factors. There were various initial project participant agreements amended, one being on July 11th of 2000, the district and the city of Manteca and the district and the city of Lathrop entered into an amendment number 1 to the initial agreement. March 28th of 2006, the district and the city of Tracy entered into Escalon amendment to Tracy SSJID Water Supply Development Agreement. And the cities of Escalon, Manteca, and Lathrop consented to the Escalon-Tracy amendment, which this was our sale of our allotment to City of Tracy. 2013, the district and the cities of Tracy and Lathrop entered into the Lathrop-Tracy purchase sale and amendment agreement, which increased the City of Tracy's project allotment by 1,120 acre feet and reduced Lathrop's project allotment by 1,120 acre feet. And further, the city of Lathrop's share of assigned capacity was reduced by 2 million gallons per day, and the city of Tracy's share of assigned capacity was increased by 2 million gallons per day. This new agreement will supersede and replace the initial agreement in its entirety without disturbing the subsequent side agreements between the district and individual participants referenced in the above various amendments, as long as there is no conflict between the agreements. By entering into this water supply agreement, the city intends to preserve its ability to receive treated water from the project in the future through existing facilities and subsequent construction of the Phase 2 project facilities. Over the last year, there have been combined talks with the district, city of Manteca, Lathrop, Tracy, and Escalon through both staff and legal counsel to establish the new agreement. The new agreement brings in the experience of the past years of operation and the future of the water treatment plant operation. The agreement has been reviewed and agreed upon by all involved and is now being presented for approval to each respective board. Therefore, staff is recommending council authorize the mayor to sign the water supply development and operating agreement between the South San Joaquin District and the city. And I did ask Rebecca Andrews with Best and Krieger to join the call tonight. She assisted in reviewing the agreement both for the city, and then we did a joint venture with the other cities also. And then staff from SSJID, and I apologize, I'm not sure who's on the line, we're also going to be joining the meeting tonight if there's any questions.
Rebecca, are you there? Rebecca? How about staff from South San Joaquin?
Rebecca on there.
Yeah, and I see Rebecca on there as well. Maybe we'll give her a couple minutes. Tammy, my main question is: does this new agreement, does it fundamentally change anything that we have already been agreeing to for the last 20 years?
No, it changes it brings the agreement in line with how the treatment plant functions. After years of experience, there were certain expectations, and we've realized some more beneficial behavior at the plant, and we've discovered, of course, new technology out there that have improved some of the things out there. So it's bringing it to today's time and operation instead of what we thought was going to be in 1995.
Okay. Rebecca, I see you there now. I'm going to assume you can hear us, and we can probably hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Okay. Hello. Thanks for joining us this evening. Council members, do you have any initial questions to Tammy or Rebecca?
Just how long is this agreement good for?
The term is until 2045.
Wow. Okay. Are there any chances for any editing or negotiations in that time span?
Yes, the agreement can be amended. There are certain portions of the agreement that will be more difficult to amend, and those would be the portions that rely on the other participating entities, such as the project allocation and the assigned capacity. But
Well,
there are some portions of the agreement that will be a little bit easier to amend just through a simple amendment to an agreement, just like any other agreement.
Will the city of Escalon receive any more revenue in this time span?
There's not additional revenue for us to receive, unless we were to, when the second phase of the facility is built out, we have another allocation. So there would be another negotiation for the sale of, if we chose to sell some of that allocation.
How far down the road is that?
We haven't started on phase 2 yet. There's been some discussions, but I would say we're probably 5 to 7 years out, to get all of that finalized.
Are we gonna incur any other costs in this time span that we know of?
Not that I know of.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, this doesn't any way hinder our future access to that water?
No, it solidifies our future access to the water.
Okay.
This is an actionable item. It is an administrative matter, so if anybody would like to entertain a motion, that's fine. Or if you have any more initial questions as you formulate a motion, please do so.
I have a question.
Sorry, what was that?
May I ask a question?
Please.
Hi, Kurt Danziger, 389 Noni Avenue. We have almost $750,000 in that water fund. Is there any opportunity with this agreement that we can start the project and bring it forward either through design or actual physical connection to a point somewhere where it's going to be connected in the future?
So this agreement has no bearing on our connection to the water treatment plant. That is totally up to us to take that action and work towards that.
So that's my question. Where is the city, and what do you think we should be doing with the money that we have set aside from Tracy to start the process moving forward for that connection?
So it's something that we're still, I mean, it's always in the forefront of my mind, if there's funding opportunities that come together. But obviously, that connection has a cost along with it. So we would have to solidify those costs and reevaluate, of course, our water rates to support that connection.
I believe our water rates had addressed that in the next 5 years. What about the design? Can we move forward with the design based on the funds that we have now?
Yes, that is something that we would be starting on in the next couple of years.
But wouldn't the shelf life have something to do with that? I mean, do we want to spend money on a design that will only be good for a certain period of time? Because we don't really know when we'll actually have enough funding to follow through with it. So my worry would be, if we want to do a design, that's fine, as long as the shelf life is reasonable enough that we could assume we could have enough funding to move forward.
And I understand your concerns, but I would say on a project like this, where majority of it is a pipeline, the design should still remain the same. The cost could be what would fluctuate from it being on the shelf too long.
Shouldn't we address the environmental impacts before we get too carried away to make sure we know exactly what we're up against?
Yes, and in my talking with the engineers, I don't know that there is an environmental study that is needed to be done when you are putting the pipeline in.
I want to remind everybody that this is a very good discussion, and and it's a good discussion for a similar topic, for another day, but it's not germane to this specific administrative matter, which is renewing, this agreement, or cleaning up this agreement. So I just want to remind everybody of that.
And I appreciate that, Mayor Swift. And all I would like to do is say, let's bring it up at a future meeting and talk about the options that we have available to us now. And I agree, this is a different topic now, but where we can go with purchasing land rights and what have you, getting prepared for the eventuality of our pipeline. That's all I have to say.
Of course. No, points very well taken from both you and Mayor Pro Tem. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to recommend the council authorize the mayor to sign the water supply development and operating agreement by and between the South San Joaquin Irrigation District and the city of Escalon. Is there any discussion of the motion on the table? Seeing none, we'll proceed to a roll call vote. Councilmember Bellinger.
Aye.
Councilmember Legero.
Aye.
Councilmember Merkin.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Alves.
Aye.
And I will say aye as well. Motion passes 5-0. Council Communications, Councilmember Bellinger.
Just a couple of questions for Tammy. Start with, do you have any latest update on the COVID numbers or anything like that from our weekly calls for Escalon?
I checked today, and we are in the city, we are at 64.
And Councilmember Bellinger, 114 for the zip code, 9532 of zip code, we have 114.
And then this might be for Dominique. Just following up on our last meeting, has the Lear project pulled permits, or have they paid their penalties yet?
No, they not.
Either one?
We haven't heard from either of them. So
Okay.
no.
Okay. That was my only questions I had for the night. Thanks.
Very good. Councilmember Bellinger, thank you. And Councilmember Legero.
Nothing for me, thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Legero. Councilmember Merkin.
I'm good tonight.
Thank you, Councilmember Merkin. Mayor Pro Tem Alves.
I'm good.
Okay, thank you very much, Mayor Pro Tem Alves. And I have two things. One, I asked Tammy last week if she could email the county health department about calling an OES meeting. And typically, we've been having those with the city managers and, of course, some of the county supervisors, Dr. Park. And so we're going to go ahead and have one on Wednesday. And the reason I felt that we needed to call it is this. And what I'm asking for two things right now. Number one, I want to paint you a scenario. As you know, our numbers have kept going up, okay, throughout the county. All right. For last month, they're going at a fairly consistent clip. Now, for the last 4 weeks, our businesses in Escalon and throughout the county, of course, you have the new restrictions on the hair salons and the nail salons. You have the new restrictions on the restaurants. You have several new restrictions with other different types of small businesses. You have the new restrictions on the churches, okay? More and more people have been wearing masks since that order came in, I think about mid-June, okay? So we've been at this for quite a while with all these new restrictions. The numbers haven't changed in terms of new infections, which suggests to me that they are not the primary cause of the increases. And so therefore, if they're not the primary cause of the increases, then might it be time to ask the governor to consider reopening some of these businesses, again, with the guidance that they were under before, but allow them to reopen, being that, again, we're into this 4 or 5 weeks already, needle hasn't moved. So that's part of the reason for this meeting. Can I make the assumption, council members, that what I had just put out is a reasonable assumption, and that we've been under these new guidelines for like several weeks. They haven't changed the numbers, so therefore they're probably not the problem. therefore the businesses, can we consider a reopening? You know, or have the governor consider reopening? Are there any objections to that thought process?
Robert, can I chime in here for a minute? I forgot something that you just refreshed my memory. I met with Brian Lee today. He's the one who built the bar, remodeled it.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, he is so depressed and down and out. And he said he just doesn't know what to do. And he met with the licensing board in Stockton, I guess, a couple days ago. And they told him that they're kind of baffled by all of this new requirement with food in the bar and so forth and so on. And he said he doesn't know what to do because he has no space for seating outside other than a little bit in the back. And I said to him, well, let me talk to the council and also the city manager and see if we can get something where you could have a few chairs and tables in front. I don't know if that's feasible or not, but it's something we should look at. This guy sunk a ton of money into this town, and he is getting hammered. So if it's any way possible that we could create some kind of latitude for him to have some sort of outside seating in the front, couple tables and chairs and stuff, because he is truly hurt, I guess. So something to consider.
Let me bounce off that. Tammy, maybe that's something we ought to talk about tomorrow as a possibility. See what we need to do to make it happen so that he can have some of the seats. I've seen a lot of restaurants, they have been creative. They have seating outside. Hair salons, they have seating outside. Let's talk about that tomorrow and see if there's any way we can get leeway for him as well. But Mayor Pro Tem, that's to my point, and that's why I want to talk to the county city managers, county leaders about it as well, to get them on board with that same idea, and Dr. Park, so that therefore she can communicate with the state. Listen, here's where San Joaquin County is thinking. Their line of logic makes sense to reopen these businesses with the guidances that they were supposed to be falling under, and take that to the governor. If nobody has any major objections with that, then that's what I'd like to do this week. Okay.
No objection here.
None here.
None here.
All right. Okay.
None here.
Okay, sounds good. I appreciate that. And the other issue, and this is kind of sort of food for thought at this point. Okay, nothing more than food for thought, and that's regarding the 20 or so acres that we rent just above Hogan Field. You know, there was a lot of talking back and forth about a year ago. Should we long-term lease it? Should we do something else with them? The consensus at the time was, let's do something else. Let's figure out something else. We'll figure out something else to do with it. Okay, and at the time, I think we were close to a year in with the 3-year lease, I think. Well, it's been a year. Again, nothing's happened. And so I just caution us. I don't want us to get to the point where that orchard 2 years from now, the trees are old, they need to be taken down, we do not have a lease, and ultimately that is a loss of a revenue source to the rec department fund, of which as we know, there are very few sources of revenue for that. I just want to throw it out right now, and just as a point of consideration for down the road, you know, should we revisit the long-term lease option? I think we need to do something. And again, judging from this last year, all these other options that were bandied forth, nothing came to fruition. So I just want you guys, council members, to think about that tonight. But should we maybe look at doing something with this field eventually? Long-term lease or something solid.
The parkland are you talking about?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, I have some ideas, but we'll get into another time, not now. But I'd like to talk to you about it and see what you think, but I have some ideas.
Yeah, just something rather than nothing, because right now we're heading towards nothing, and I don't want to, that's going to impact that rec department fund. And like I say, it's already, you know, not in the greatest of shape, and that's one of the few revenue sources that it has. So, and on that note, I want to thank everybody who called in tonight, who joined the GoTo meeting tonight, and thank you everybody else who attended, and I will declare this council meeting adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.
Good evening. Bye-bye. Good job.
This conference is no longer being recorded.
Good enough. Bye-bye.